Welcome to my Practicum Journal 3 on the highest quality Morgan Library rental microphone. For my third journal today, I will be talking about the Hunger Games. What about the Hunger Games? Mind control and utter planet disparity. See more. Keep watching. As we know, the top 1% has trained us beneath them to rely on their supply. We give them our money, it stays out of our reach, never returning to circle back at our economic level. Money is power. It paves way for complete control unto its owner. Dictation of resource usage, making decisions for local production institutions, investment funds to snuff opponents. How could this drunken power bender possibly inflict permanent destruction on our non-renewable resources? Actually, it is the whole problem. With about 199 days until the release of the new Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping in theaters, Suzanne Collins, the author of The Hunger Games, is surely sitting back in her chair right now watching us rip ourselves to shreds, knowing she and many others blatantly foretold this prophecy of warning. Though to keep this as short as I can, yeah, sure. I will not be discussing the books in depth or Sunrise on the Reaping. I will be mainly talking about the main 5 movies that are out currently. Beginning chronologically is going to be the best way to illustrate my point. Even the creation of this post-capitalist dystopia is credited to our climate's deteriorating state currently at this moment. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the books this much, but this quote from the first book helps us to understand how Panem rose up, came to be. As Katniss is standing listening to the mayor give his speech for the 74th annual reaping, he talks about the history of Panem, the country that rose up out of the ashes of a place that was once called North America. He lists the disasters, the droughts, the storms, the fires, the encroaching seas that swallowed up so much of the land, the brutal war for what little sustenance remained. The result was Panem, a shining capital ringed by 13 districts, which brought peace and prosperity to its citizens. This era of peace, initially, before the Dark Days, did not last long because the totalitarian system enforced by the capital stirred deviance. The Dark Days begins from retaliation on District 13's end. They are unsuccessful in their revolt, unable to outfirepower the capital, so all of the districts fall back under the capital's rule. District 13 is eradicated from the world as to be made an example of, just completely wiped off the map. I believe on the canon map, District 13 is like Maine. So yeah, just bye-bye Maine. Discouraging any more acts of individualism like District 13's, the capital decides to also implement the Hunger Games. What are the Hunger Games for? Celebrating the end of the Dark Days and a new era of peace. This annual battle serves as a token of bloody sacrifice and honor for the districts. Participants are drawn from the district children ranging in ages from 12 to 18, one boy and one girl from each. A single winner shall be crowned victor, rewarded with a rich life in the capital. Now that we are all nice and contextualized, we can start with the opening scene of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Dark Days. 3 years before the first annual Hunger Games, 2 children run across an active battlefield littered with bodies and ash. They scour for food, hiding upon hearing a man scurry towards a body behind them. Watching from their hiding place, curiosity churns in the little boy's stomach as he recognizes the man from before the war. His once neighbor, crouched over the body, unsheaths a cleaver to hack a piece off of the corpse's leg. The little boy turns to his cousin and asks, why would the man do that? To which his cousin simply replies that he is starving. This is the first that we see of Coriolanus Snow. Wow, this lighting is so bad. I didn't draw him as a little boy because we know him. Oh, you can't even see it. We know him to be President Snow, ruling over all of Panem in the original trilogy. So how does he think? And if he knew poverty why did he enforce the Hunger Games for over 3/4 of his life? So Snow has seen what war does to people. People you think you know turn violent, turn against you. Suzanne Collins showed us both consensus building and opportunities for critical debate through the series, but I want to analyze it from the characters' perspectives. Coriolanus Snow, after this moment, becomes on the side of building consensus. The famine that war forced was unbearable. The physical proof of death around him utterly scarred his memory. His grandmother's warnings of rebels coming to kidnap and hang you in the woods haunt his first impressions of strangers. Coriolanus Snow has seen what lines people will cross, teaching him you can never predict how somebody will act in desperation, even if you think you know them. In order to ensure the dark days never return, he climbs the ranks to achieve power necessary for change and preservation. Now, let's do a little time skip. Skipping ahead to that 3/4 chunk of Snow's life I mentioned, we traverse forwards 74 years. Katniss Everdeen. Oh, I'm not like a YouTuber, or I don't know what I'm doing. Katniss Everdeen, the 16-year-old girl from District 12. This is our protagonist. It's really hard to see these. Today is the 74th annual Reaping Day. Her little sister, Primrose, is having a nightmare of being chosen. Older sister Katniss sings Prim back to sleep, reassuring she has only been entered once. The probability of her name getting called for the games is unlikely. Knowing this very well contradicts her own situation, she quickly makes her way out of town past district borders to hunt for game. Obviously forbidden, she seeks fresh kill to bring back for cook and trade. Food options for the poor Everdeen was either to hunt or to claim Tesserae, which Katniss had already done more than a few times. Claiming Tesserae is essentially where people in the district can claim a year's worth of ration of grains and oil in exchange for putting your name into the reaping drawing for as many times as you draw out Tesserae. Katniss lives within the consensus President Snow has now had 74 years to build. He has distributed poverty layer by layer. Panem's mode of production serves the superstructural demands within the capital, those being stuff like cuisine, fashion, entertainment, like the Hunger Games. Each district represents a force of production. District 1 is jewels and luxury items. District 2 is masonry and weapons manufacturing. District 5 is electricity. 6 is transportation. 9 and 10 are both for food, grain production, and livestock. District 12, the poorest district, is coal mining. Snow charismatically informs districts over daily broadcasts that without them, the heart of Panem will fall. If they were to stop work, the capital would have no resources to provide or protect the districts with, leaving them to fend for themselves. The constricting threat would still be hunger, driving people mad. And the citizens of Panem believe this because every year on TV, they watch a version of this happen. Katniss's poverty is designed by Snow. Snow wants the districts teetering on disparities, so when the games begin, they already have a reason to kill, not dying. Snow keeps isolation in check through food regulation and resource depletion, outlawing trade. Overpopulation and famine keep you individualized. Every year you watch kids you know die at the hands of other districts. Their suffering is the same as yours, so you know the risks they will take to survive. They're the same ones that you would take to survive. Snow has trained an entire society to resource guard without questioning why food and money are so inaccessible for the masses in the first place. If someone in your district is starving, do you give them your half of bread? It'll feed them, but now your stomach will be empty. He traps them inside this system that turns kindness costly to your survival. Therefore, volunteers for tributes are rare. Rebellion is unthought of. Rules are unquestioned. The districts believe the only one who will fight for them is themselves. And the Hunger Games are mass broadcasted to reinforce that belief. Now, how does any of this relate to destructive habits? With such an organized yet dramatically depicted fictional government, the played-up world of Panem creates a fail-safe, friendly theory sandbox. No wrong answers. An annual game of killing people complied with for 74 years is hard to rationalize, so how is it probable? First, we must consider the founders of Panem. What causes did they live through to see the effects play out in their ravenous natural disaster form? How different was their mode of production and scientific advancements compared to present Panem, or even us? These people saw tragedy so globally destructive the only way to prevent it from ever happening again was to form Panem, to create an order meant to preserve its people. My first fear is that the already overwhelming presence of individual responsibility around climate change and non-renewable resources, paired with rapidly advancing technology, will excuse the death of Earth. To save it before destruction was never the plan, but instead developing methods of survival to ensure the digital pioneering continues on to serve man. While they distract us with paper straws as we fret over our future generations, they genetically engineer dire wolf puppies in a lab, so when more species go extinct from our corrosive living habits, it really doesn't matter, since we're scientifically advanced enough to bring it all back anyways. My second fear mirrors the beginning of the first, that saving the Earth has never been the plan, but instead bringing on the dark days has. Is it possible that in order to control the population even deeper, the Earth and its resources must be destroyed to send everyone into panic, creating the perfect opportunity to restructure our government and democracy into something totalitarian? So now most of Earth's population, North America really for the sake of my comparison, has seen disaster beyond imagination. We can potentially rationalize a yearly sacrifice in exchange for subpar living habits and protection from those dark days. That is why Snow aims to persuade his general consensus. War is worse, so take moderated sacrifice. He convinces Panem they're all in it together. Katniss represents the critical debate on the logistics of Panem, how the capital as an institution controls everything and everyone. The Hunger Games, ironically meant to serve as his consensus propaganda, actually gave Katniss insight to the true waste and privilege that was killing her people. Yes, the background has changed. It is the next day. I did not film my conclusion last night, so I usually take a long time to get my point across, but essentially I conclude with billionaire don't care if world blow up. World blow up may be kind of cool. Some people die, good. Some people don't, but super traumatized now, also good. People super traumatized so we can put them in killing games. People comply since killing game less scary than big war and world blow up. Now hoard all resource but lie about resource, since apocalypse and war kinda did make them go away. People believe that easy. People not annoying about saving planet anymore, and you get to watch them kill each other. Suzanne Collins illustrates for us the infinite gray areas within fantasy dystopias that open conversation to really consider what absurd cultural practices we don't second guess. It's never just the Hunger Games are bad. It should always be what was intentionally enacted to create a path of events that led us here.